we're Shell and Warren, and a year ago we bought this crusty old plasterer's van to convert into a camper van.
Today actually marks the 1 year vaniversary.
And we know what you're thinking,
Shouldn't it be finished by now?
and yes, it should. But let me tell you, it's been a rough ride. So, the short story is that the van broke. The long story, we'll get into that in a minute. But basically, we are back in business and we have a long list of jobs that we need to get done.
Just a few.
We need to construct some walls, finish the ceiling, finish the carpeting, give the toilet a home, make a bed for this grumpy little child, do some plumbing, build a kitchen, put the main bed back in, make some storage, somehow fit a diesel heater, make a dividing bulkhead, make some blinds and soft furnishings, make somewhere to sit, and finally, we need to make it look pretty.
So yeah, we have a big old job on our hands.
So the long story of it is following on from our very last video, which you can watch here if you want to see the recap of that, which was 7 long months ago. And basically at the end of that video, we were positive. We thought the issue had been fixed and we were wrong.
So if you haven't seen that video, we initially thought it was a hill hold fault. Well, that's what we were seeing that was related to wiring or earth or something along those lines.
So we touched on it in the video. So basically what we did do, which we thought might have fixed it, was we got the pre-tensioner soldered at a local garage, and then Warren had also tapped in a earth wire into the reversing camera that we had fitted. However, the van broke down again. Warren had to be recovered again, multiple times again.
So I spent the next couple of months trawling Google, all the useful forums and stuff, and it's great, but also it's probably my worst enemy because I kept finding new things to have a look at and try and resolve this problem. Loads of people seem to have this issue, but with different sort of causes, checking fuse boxes, wiring, earths and stuff like that. And I didn't really get anywhere, so it was really a wasted couple of months.
So then we finally got it into it, basically because it was what we believed to be an electrical fault. We had to go to a special auto electrician, and they were quite busy. We managed to kind of get in, and then it was kind of over like the Christmas New Year period when this was all like happening. So they basically had the van for about a month before it actually got looked at, because they thought it was something to do with the ECU and they have a guy. So then it was like the garage talking to the guy.
The fault the garage found out was actually to do with the barometric pressure sensor. Yeah, I mean, obvious, right? It basically shorted, or it had a fault, and it's got water ingress, and it had shorted out the ECU. So the main problem was the ECU, but the cause was the barometric pressure sensor. So the ECU needed to be repaired/replaced.
So the garage have had the van for over a month, and they say, hey, your van's all fixed. And we go and we get the van, we drive it home. Was this when it was coming home for its MOT?
Yeah.
It was coming home to its MOT. So basically we have a garage local to us and who do regular mechanic stuff. So we drove it home and put it in for the MOT, and it passed. And then after the MOT, we drove it home, and then what happened?
The hill holder light came back on.
The original problem. So we got back on the phone. I say we. Warren got back on the phone to the auto electrician's garage.
They said, well, we've fixed the fault, and I think there was a bit of a misunderstanding where they'd fixed the ECU problem, which was what was preventing the van from starting, but it all started with the heel holder thing. So that was the thing in our heads. We're like, we need to get rid of this heel holder light because that is the bane of our existence. The garage took the van back in and they did a few checks, and they probably found one of the first things that I found was to replace the brake light switch, which I had already done, to obviously no avail. They did it and said, that's it, sorted, come and collect it. So we went to pick it up, drove it around the corner, hill holder light comes back on. So back to the garage again quickly, and they said, oh, there's a couple of different adjustments for this, so we'll adjust it. did that, drove it out, came back on again. So they're okay, right, leave it with us, we'll have another look. And then what they did was basically replace the brake light switch again, but this time with a manufacturer's part, an OEM part. And that was the last time it was in the garage. And it's been fine ever since. Touch anything made of wood.
So the first time the van went in and it had the ECU repaired, and we were lucky that he was able to repair it because it could have been a whole replacement. So the cost for that was £840.
640.
The cost for that was £640.
So it was a bargain. The bargain price. So the cost for the brake light switch was around £160 all in.
Basically, after all of the repairs, the total cost was...
It was around £800.
£800. I think the real kind of cost to us was our motivation. Like, I said to you at one point, didn't I? I was like, let's just sell it. Let's just scrap the van. This could go on. But we didn't know, did we? Like,
No,
honestly...
I didn't want to because I thought we started it. I don't want to be there. We want to finish it. But there were points when I just thought, is it, it was getting cold. We weren't really doing much and nothing was progressing with the van. So yeah, we definitely had those moments. But thankfully we're back on track now.
Yeah.
So you can see us pulling our hair out, what's left of my grey hair.
We've had the van kind of working, I guess, for like a month or two now. We've done a few odd jobs here. We haven't fully kicked in and got back in the swing of things. We wanted to drive it. We wanted to make sure no more ever lights are going to come on before, obviously this has all cost us money. So before we started plowing money back into the renovations, we just wanted to make sure mechanically it was sound. We are back and we do want this up and running for summer. So school, 6 weeks holidays. Basically, we both work for ourselves. We're self-employed. So the luxury of being able to go and do what we want when we want in 6 weeks holidays, we want to do it. And we want to have a nice, fun summer. Feel like we've earned it. So yes, all of those jobs, what you've just seen us go through, they all need to be done. So stay tuned, follow us along, and like and subscribe. Bye.